everyone, I am Mr. Gaming Guitarist, and Sony just wrapped up their PlayStation meeting for this year, and it's interesting because now we know whenever they do a PlayStation meeting, they do it only for when they make new hardware announcements. So, they started off by talking, I have my notes here, so they showed off what we already know because it was leaked. We got to see the PS4, the slim PS4, which is now going to be the new standard model, and that is going to be available September 15th for $299. So, and one thing I have to say is this event was very straightforward. It was very, I wouldn't say raw, but I'd say it was very straightforward and simple. You know, they didn't have any huge mind-blowing announcements. I would say all they did was just say, here's what it is, and here's only a little bit of new footage. So, what they were saying about this is, of course, it has an upgraded GPU. No shit. It has a boosted CPU clock rate. Also no shit. Also, it has a 1 terabyte hard drive. I would have preferred a 2 terabyte hard drive. But then again, I guess since the hard drives are swappable, I guess the people that want an SSD can just put one in there. So, I also mentioned that it will have HDR, and of course it will be compatible with PlayStation VR. So we got to see some footage of the PS4 Pro footage, and yes, it's called the PS4 Pro. And you know, when I heard it, I was like, yeah, okay, that seems like a perfectly suitable name. At least it's nothing ridiculous like the names Wii U or Xbox One. But then again, I got used to those names. The PS4 Pro is like, okay, fine. That seems to make the most sense. Doesn't get that big of a reaction. It's like, okay, that's a fine name. So, they showed footage of Insomniac's SpiderMan game in 4K, but it looked more like a benchmark test that you would run for a PC game, except we got to see some shots of New York in that same block in the E3 announcement trailer, and then we just got to see like some close-up shots of Spider-Man. Got to see his costume up close. You can see the stitching. It looks really good, but then again, I can't really see all the detail because my computer monitor, and my monitor I'm using for my PS4, it's all in 1080p. So they showed For Honor, and they reminded us Rise of the Tomb Raider is coming for the PS4, but I already played that on PC, and you can watch my full playthrough of that. And then they showed Watch Dogs 2, which I don't care about because I was so burned by the first one, Killing Floor 2, and Days Gone. And they mentioned that it's forward compatible, so that pretty much means every PS4 game will be able to run on the PS4 and on the Pro. And they also said that, like I mentioned, all my monitors are only in 1080p, but they said that the PS4 Pro will work on any HD TV. So even if you have just a 1080p, just like me, it will still be able to work. And they claim you can still see a benefit from it because they said that most games have anti-aliasing. I think they said it was something about like MSAA, higher versions of that. So I would guess you'll get like pretty much if you stick with the same 1080p TV you have right now. It's like if you went from the standard PS4 to the PS4 Pro, I would assume it's like going from medium to high or high to ultra on your graphic settings for a PC game. That's how I imagine it would be. So next up, here we go. Here's some good stuff. So we got to see some Horizon Zero Dawn gameplay, some new footage of it in 4K with HDR. But then again, I can't see the 4K or the HDR because my monitor has none of those. But anyway, from what I could see, it still looks fucking great. You know, I'm still just as excited as I ever was, and I noticed Aloy has a new costume, not a costume, or new clothes, or now, where it's like some sort of sleeveless tribal type thing, and then you can see her like climbing this big giant thing. But it's funny because this one giant robot dinosaur's head that she was climbing, it looked like the head was so giant and circular, it looked like the saucer portion of the Enterprise. And I remember in the chat room, someone was making jokes saying, "Hey, is someone playing Star Trek Bridge Crew on Oculus Rift in there?" So yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. It looks great, and of course, no duh, it'll look even better on PS4 Pro. So next up, so the guy from Activision came out with this very distracting shirt because there was like 2 buttons for where you would normally see 1 button on every one on like most regular button-up shirts. It was very weird. So he mentioned that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare Modern Warfare Remastered are coming to PS4 Pro day one, and of course, no surprise there, given that Call of Duty is one of the top 5 biggest selling third-party games, and I really don't care about Call of Duty. I haven't cared since Black Ops 6 years ago, and I just got bored of it. And we got to see some new gameplay from Infinite Warfare. I like that it looks like it's in a different direction, but it's not so different enough that it's making me clamor and wanting to get my hands to play it. Call of Duty isn't for me. So next up, okay, here we go. If there was the one most exciting thing about this year, we got to see the first ever gameplay footage for Mass Effect Andromeda on the PS4 Pro. Now, what I have to say is, this is kind of an interesting shift, because before, anytime they revealed new Mass Effect gameplay for the first time, before it was always on Xbox, so kind of find it interesting that they're doing that over on PlayStation now. So anyways, we got to see our main character. I forget what his or her name is, but you could, and they wore a helmet so you couldn't really see them, but they were walking, and you saw them walk in this like empty dungeon, and there was like this alien species you have to try to avoid. It's just giving us a small glimmer, but finally got to see some gameplay, and hey, the game looks incredible. Like the graphics, it looks just stunning, and I love Mass Effect so much. I spent so many hours playing all the games, and I love them. And so but I wonder how your save data is going to work, because I played it on the 360, Mass Effect, all 3 of them. I played it on the 360, and yet if I'm going to be playing Andromeda on the PS4 Pro, how are you going to take, or are the choices you made not even going to count because it's a different galaxy? I don't know, but I'm just really excited for that game. So, next up, okay, so and then they also mentioned that there will be a brand new Netflix app, so I guess it's redesigned for PS4 Pro, which will include everything in 4K and HDR, and they also said there's also going to be a new YouTube app, so it looks like we might be getting some redesigns for those. And also, then the really interesting thing is they said that they mentioned that every PS4 is going to be HDR compatible. How the hell is that going to work? I didn't know. I thought HDR was a hardware thing, not a software thing. So I'm going to assume that it'll just be in some system software update. But then again, is HDR really that big of a difference that you're going to be able to see that big of a difference on just a 1080p TV? I don't know. And once again, there isn't a lot of HDR content, but I'm going to assume that push towards making HDR more of a mainstream thing will come from the PS4 and the new Scorpio or whatever it's going to be. So then they finally said that now here's the real shocking thing. They said it's going to be available, PS4 Pro will be available November 10th. And it will be $399. So the original price of the PS4 at launch. And I was not expecting it to come out this early. I thought it was going to be coming out next year. So that definitely shocked me, and I just now the thing is, I'm not going to be buying this day one, because for me, honestly, unless I see it in person, maybe I'll try to avoid seeing the PS4 Pro in person, because I don't want to all of a sudden spend $400, because I don't want to. But maybe I'll wait for this on a price drop, or maybe sometime next year, 4K monitors. And I don't even know if there are even monitors in HDR. I don't know if they'll be compatible. But anyways, and I don't know if the benefit from going from PS4 to PS4 Pro with only 1080p is big enough to warrant spending $400. Those are just my thoughts. I'm glad they're doing this, but this doesn't look like something I'll be getting on day one. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on the PS4 Pro in the comments below. I'm MrGamingGuitarist. You can please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on future videos from me. And you can also support my Patreon page. I would appreciate it. And we will definitely be talking about the PS4 Pro on the N4G TV podcast this weekend. So make sure you watch that. Those links will be in the description. And I will see you guys on my next video. Goodbye.